What is up everyone, Movie Worm here, and I'd just like to say a massive welcome to everyone who is watching this. I've wanted to put this together for quite a while now, so here we are. So let's just get into it. Now one day I was just walking down the street and a thought popped into my head of who the greatest movie character of all time is, because you must be pretty great to be that person. Let's just think of the movies out there now. We've got movie titles like Pulp Fiction, where you've got so many different characters that make that movie work. And then you've got films like the latest Malcolm and Marie, where there's only 2 characters, but 99% of movies do have characters in them. And there's just so many. So when I thought of who the best is, it must be some fiat for you to be named in these top movie characters by anyone, especially movie fans who I've got in this video here. Have seen so many movies. And because I couldn't think of who the best was, I had to pass the baton on. And I do apologise to all these people for just trying to come up with one. But I thought it would be interesting to hear all the opinions of people, because I thought there'd be so many different ones out there, and we do have a variety here. So I thought this could make a good video, just hearing who people think is the greatest movie character of all time. And not all of these are heroes, not all of them are villains, there's anti-heroes, stuff like that, but we'll get into it as the video moves along. I've asked them to pick anyone they want. It can be a side character, whatever. So here we go, and I thought the best place to start would be with the greatest movie heroes of all time, because I thought this was going to be the more popular choice. You know, these are the people we look up to and the people we root for in movies. So let's just take a look now at some of the best movie heroes or good guys ever portrayed on screen.
Hey everyone, Jody Paul here from Magpie Movies. So here's my entry for Jordan's collaboration. Thanks for letting me get a video on your channel. Much appreciated, Jordan. So Jordan's asked, who is your favourite movie character, arch villain, side character? So for me, it's this guy here, the Wolverine, or Logan. With this particular one, it's from the Wolverine. The film isn't the best, but I just love the Japanese artwork. Been a big fan of Wolverine since the mid-90s with the animated series. I loved him in that. And then I was really looking forward to the first X-Men movie when that came out in 2000. The character Hugh Jackman portrays over all the X-Men movies and the spin-offs is excellent. I love the fact that he can be angry, he can be happy, he can be funny, he can help characters out, he has a conscience. It's just great with all the movies, you can explore the character. So yeah, I'm a bit sad that Hugh Jackman's hung up the claws or the knives as such. But yeah, so there's my entry, is the Wolverine, and don't forget my favourite scene is at the end of X-Men 1, and here you go, here's a clip for them.
Hey, it's me.
Prove it.
You're a dick.
Okay.
Thanks again, Jordan. Keep up the good work, loving all your videos, and I'll see you all on Magpie Movies, and don't forget the live streams every Sunday.
Hi everybody, it's Kermit's Ghost. I've been asked if I can contribute to this collaboration video telling you of my favourite or most memorable movie character. An almost impossible task, but one that does stand out to me and probably won't be on anybody's list, is Benjamin Franklin Gates. Who, you're saying? It's the guy from the National Treasure films, played mainly by Nicolas Cage, and this is why he is my choice. In 1974, Ben, aged just 10 years old, portrayed at that age by Hunter Gomez, is told by his grandfather, played by Christopher Plummer, John Gates, of a story that has been passed down through the Gates family. It's a story of a treasure, not just any treasure, but that of the Knights Templar. The story originated from his ancestor, Thomas Gates, who in 1832, whilst taking Charles Carroll to see the President in the White House, is entrusted with the first clue as to the treasure's whereabouts. Now that clue reads, "The secret lies with Charlotte." Now this one conversation has a massive impact on Ben, so much so that his entire life's focus is that very clue. He goes on to get a mechanical engineering degree from MIT, an American history degree from Georgetown, not to mention he attends the Naval Diving and Salvage Training Center. For 30 years he was focused on that first clue, which leads him to a ship called the Charlotte, which is encased in ice in the Arctic. And this leads Ben to further clues. Now, Ben is both clever, resourceful, and patriotic, to the point where he's forced to plan and execute a heist to steal the Declaration of Independence in order to stop it from falling into the wrong hands. Knowing full well that his freedom, his family name, and everything else will be put into jeopardy. He does this all whilst being pursued by the FBI, a fellow treasure hunter with murderous tendencies, a father who is constantly disappointed and disapproves of his life choices, and towing along is sarcastic computer expert called Riley Paul. Oh, and Abigail Chase, a woman who works for the National Archives in Washington, D.C., and who later becomes his love interest. So in short, Ben is a treasure hunter, cryptologist, history expert who is tenacious, intelligent, brave, and spontaneous, and patriotic. What more do you need? He is a man to inspire a generation.
Look, if we're talking best movie character of all time, for me personally, I have always had a favourite since I watched this movie. It is Uma Thurman and Tarantino's creation, The Bride from Kill Bill. The character is written extremely well. Tarantino's best character by a country mile. Uma Thurman is absolutely amazing in the role. The costumes she wears are absolutely impeccable. And the character herself goes through one of the best arcs you will see on film. She is a samurai sword-wielding, multilingual, arse-kicking, name-taking, bad-ass bitch who is an assassin. Look, what more is there to love? For me personally, best movie character of all time, hands down, The Bride from Kill Bill.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, hope you're all enjoying the video so far, and a big thank you to Movie Worm for having me on. I'm Liverpool Retro Gamer, and I'm here today to talk about my favourite movie character of all time. And that character is none other than the famous Rocky Balboa, played by the amazing Sylvester Stallone. Now, why is Rocky my favourite character in comparison to a lot of the other characters you've heard throughout this video? A lot of people see the Rocky films as just an underdog story, but to me, what Rocky is a true working class hero. I used to do boxing as a kid, and Rocky was my hero. I used to watch these movies on repeat all the time. Now back then, I didn't really, I connected with the character a lot, and there was a lot of stuff to be relatable to. Growing up in a working class environment, all the scenes of Rocky walking around Philadelphia and things like that, and where he's training, a lot of that type of stuff really related to me as a kid. Not that I was going for the heavyweight championship, but you know what I mean. But it's more as I got older and I've realised how deep the character development actually is with Rocky. It's amazing. This guy goes from not wanting to break someone's thumb for Rizzo, and then at the end of the film, he's nail-bitingly close to becoming a heavyweight champion in the world. But throughout all this, we have what in my opinion is probably the greatest love story in cinema history. Him and Adrian just have such a special and unique bond. It's amazing, and to see this from a character, again, like I said, who was presented early on in the film as a thug, to go on, and at the end of the movie, he doesn't even care about the belt. All he cares about is Adrian. That's a massive thing, and it's something you don't often see in a movie of this type of scope. But for me, it's moments like when he's offered the fight of Apollo Creed, and he can't even take the consideration into account. He's just saying, I'd like to be a sparring partner. And that echoes on from things that Mick has said to him earlier about you could have had potential, you're just a bum and things like that. I think throughout the whole film, the idea of not getting your chance and being a nearly man is so evident in Rocky's character. And when Mick actually does come over and offer to train Rocky, and he has this massive negative reaction, he's very dismissive of Mick. Immediately he turns around and he comes and apologises, said, I'll be at the gym tomorrow. It's things like that that show a very real reaction, and then again, somebody's character really overpowering their emotions. And I've got into a few small examples there, but as I said, for me, Rocky is often portrayed as a big underdog movie and, the montage film, but in reality, behind all that is probably the greatest character development of all time. And there's quite a few people that could be contending for that in terms of characters, but that's my opinion. So anyway, if somehow you haven't seen it, watch Rocky Balboa. The scenes where he's going up the Philadelphia step for the first time and he's failing at training, they'll stick with you for a very long time, and then you eventually see him get up those steps and see one of the most iconic moments in movie history. That's a small advertisement, and it's a big reason why I'd say go and watch a film. Anyway, back to you, Jordan. Thanks for having me on, mate, and I hope everyone enjoys the rest of the video. Peace.
Hello, my name is Sarah, also known as Popcorn Chat on YouTube, and I wanted to get involved in Movie Worm's video as he asked me about one of my favourite sort of iconic characters within film. And when he asked me this question, I was a little bit, torn between who do I choose and who do other people enjoy. But I came to the conclusion that for me, one of the most iconic characters has to be Captain Jack Sparrow. I was only 7 years old when the first Pirates of the Caribbean film came out, and I was just mesmerised. I thought the characters and the film, the action within this was, it was all a bit scary and everything. But for me, Johnny Depp's character and the portrayal of Captain Jack Sparrow was just iconic, and that is something that's been able to outlive the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. You can see people dressed up as the character even now at Halloween, or you can see them in Times Square in New York or in LA or in London. You're always going to see people dressed up as him because he's such an iconic character. I think what Johnny Depp is able to do with the character and his performance, I think is brilliant. I'm sure you know people that can do impressions of Captain Jack Sparrow. Someone will try and do a Captain Jack Sparrow impression for you, at least once a year. There's always these people, oh yeah, I'm good at impressions, and he's always one that seems to come up. So for me personally, I think that Captain Jack Sparrow is one of the most iconic characters, and I think regardless of the franchise and where it's going to go in the future, I'm not too sure, but for me, I think this character is one of the best within film.
Hi guys, how you all doing? Firstly, I want to thank Jordan for inviting me on to do a short video. So, cheers mate. So yeah, my favourite character out of a film, that is a tough one because I've got so many characters that I love in movies, but there is one actor who's played, in my opinion, so many iconic roles and characters in movies, and it's got to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's fantastic. he's probably my favourite actor ever. My favourite action hero anyway. And if you're a big action movie fan, you'll know that he is the best ever. But there's so many roles he did, like the Terminator, the Predator, Raw Deal, where he played Joseph Brenner, But my favourite role of Arnie's has got to be John Matrix, where he plays John Matrix in the movie Commando. He's absolutely amazing in it. It's so cheesy, lots of action. His one-liners and most of his movies are amazing, and Commando's no exception. It's fantastic. So yeah, my favourite character is Arnold Schwarzenegger as John Matrix in Commando. Yeah, like I said, all the one-liners and stuff and the action scenes, he's absolutely fantastic. I could have picked Jingle All the Way just for that one-liner he did where he goes, "Put the cookie down now!" It's fantastic. But yeah, anyway, that was just a quick one. Again, John Matrix in Commando is one of my favourite characters ever. Thanks Jordan and everyone else. See you all soon.
Hi there, I'm Lauren, and thank you for Jordan for inviting me onto his channel to talk about our favourite character in a film. I'm going to go with John from John Q. It's such an underrated role by Denzel Washington, and it really shows you the extreme lengths a father will go to help and protect his kid. John's son needs a heart transplant, and he takes things to the extreme by taking the ER hostage because his insurance that he's been paying into won't cover the heart transplant. John is a kind and caring man, and we see this when he holds the ER hostage. Now, that sounds silly, but hear me out. Normally, a criminal would do this with anger and violence, but he treats everyone with respect and even makes sure the doctors treat the patients in there for free. He's not there to hurt anyone, he's just there hoping that this will put Mike on the transplant list. John is a likeable character. It doesn't excuse what he's done, but seeing things from his perspective, this is his last chance. This is his last hope. He doesn't even know how to use the gun. He fumbles with it, and most of all, it isn't even loaded. This shows you that he doesn't want to hurt anyone. He's taken this last chance to put a spotlight on how bad the healthcare system is and how it's failing his son. We don't see John as an evil person or a criminal like people on the outside do, because he just hasn't got them characteristics in him. We see him be a complete opposite. He even becomes friendly with the people in the ER, and they even end up respecting him. Well, bar the odd person, but I don't really want to go into why they're respecting him because I don't want to spoil anything. So I'm going to stop here because I do really want people to go out and see this film. So yeah, no spoilers. Okay, so thank you, Jordan, for having me onto your channel, and yeah, back to you.
Hi everyone, Big Paulie here. Just want to say a big thanks to Jordan for letting me submit this little bit. My favourite character of all time, can you guess? Him. Yes, little green friend. I remember queuing up back in the 80s outside the cinema, waiting to get in to see the latest in the Star Wars movies, sitting down with me Kiora and me Butterkiss, rah rah rah, exploring new worlds in a galaxy far, far away, and Luke crashing his X-Wing down onto Dagobah, and we find this little fella down there. Made up of rubber and plastic and metal. It could have been a failure. When Frank Oz brought this little fella to life, it was screen magic. I love everything about Yoda. Just the screen time he had with Luke was mesmerising. I love the mystery that surrounded him back then, with us not knowing anything about him for his first performance. I know I can hear all these Star Wars newbies saying, "What do you mean? He was in the prequels. Of course you know who he is." Come here and I'll slap you. Back in the 80s when Yoda was a puppet, it was magical. I think Yoda wants to say something. Oh, subscribe to Jordan, you must. Yeah, I'm not going to be a ventriloquist.
Now, when I got into this video, I knew there was going to be a lot of variety. That's the whole point of doing this. But two characters in particular just kept cropping up. One is one of the best movie heroes of all time, and one is one of the strongest female heroines you will see on screen. So let's take a little look at those two next.
Hey guys, Alex here, and before I get into what's my personal favourite film character of all time, I do just want to give a massive thank you to my good pal Jordan, aka MovieWorm, for asking me to be a part of this collaboration. I'm excited to see what everyone else says, and I'm excited to see how the video turns out. And with that being said, I'm not going to make this too long, but there are several characters that I could have chosen. Batman, Superman, Marty McFly and Doc Brown from one of my favourite films, Back to the Future. Chris Evans is Captain America in the MCU, love him. Anyone pretty much from the main cast of Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, things like that. But the one that I've gone for is Indiana Jones. Now, back in the 70s and the 80s, Harrison Ford was known pretty much for playing the roles of Han Solo and Indiana Jones. Now, I love both of these characters, but the one that I have a slight preference for is actually Indiana Jones, even though I would put Star Wars as a franchise above these films. But the character is so interesting. He's got so many stories to tell. He's got kind of a suave mannerism about him. It just makes him so cool. I would love to sit down and just have a drink with this guy, listen to some of his stories. He's such an amazing character, and he's not, you know, he's not a Mary Sue. He can't go into a jungle and just do anything that he wants. He's got a fear of snakes, and when you're an adventurer, that presents a problem. So I love that. It's realistic, it's authentic, it kind of brings some sort of gravitas to it, and yeah, I just think he's an amazingly cool character, realistic, relatable, and someone that you could just sit down and have a drink with. And the fact that he goes on these jungle adventures, which I'm a big fan of, I just love him. I think Indiana Jones is an amazing character. But again, that's going to do it for this. Thank you all so much for watching this little segment of the video. Again, excited to see how it turns out. Thank you, Jordan, my friend.
Now then, Jordan, mate, thanks very much for asking me to be involved. I'm really grateful for the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to seeing the finished result as well. I think it's going to be great. My favourite character, well, it's got to be Indiana Jones for me. I gave this a bit of thought, and there were a few others that I thought about, Bond and Batman and a couple of others, but no, it's definitely Indy when I think about it. Obviously wonderfully played by Harrison Ford. I have adored this character from the first time I ever saw him in The Last Crusade as a young lad. My dad was really desperate to show me this film. My mum and my sister had gone out, and he's, "Oh, Jim, we've got to watch this film," and he taped it off the TV back when that was a thing, and we sat and watched Indiana Jones and The Last crusade. And it is possibly my favourite film of all time, that. But I just remember being absolutely glued to the screen and amazed by this character. Just how cool he was and how resourceful. And, you know, obviously, you know, he's just, you know, he's a teacher one minute and then he's an adventurer the next. And, you know, he's in all these death-defying sort of scenes. And it's just absolutely amazing. And, you know, I remember thinking sort of, you know, the scene where they're going through the catacombs in Venice looking for the Grail marker, being really sort of tense, but Indy plays it really cool. And, you know, he sort of realises that there's petrol in the water, and so he turns it into a torch and realises that he can use it against the bad guys that are following them. And how he sort of, you know, prevails when he's rescuing his dad in the Austrian castle. He poses as a Scottish lord, and he plays quite comedically, but it's just brilliant how he adapts. And then the escape on the motorcycle with the sidecar. I love the bit in Raiders where the guy's in the market with the swords and he does all the fancy moves ready to take Indy on in a duel, and then Indy just blows him away, and he's just so cool as a cucumber. And I think it carries on as well throughout the rest of the films. You see it in Temple, and it even carried on into Crystal Skull, and I'm really excited to see where they go with it next.
Thank you so much, Jordan, for inviting me on your channel to take part in this series. Who is your favourite movie character of all time? I do have one honourable mention. I wanted to put him at #1, but because of his lifestyle, I thought I'd better not. And that's because his marriage is on the rocks, his kids stay away, and he also drinks a lot as well. But this guy is a hero. And this man is Detective Lieutenant John McClane. I'm a big fan of the Die Hard franchise. It's one of those franchises I can watch over and over again. And this guy is absolutely amazing at his job. He's also fearless as well. For instance, tying a fire hose around your body and jumping off the side of a skyscraper. Completely nuts. And he's also in the wrong place at the wrong time, which is good for some people. And of course he came up with that saying, yippee-ki-yay. My favourite movie character of all time, I've chosen a character I grew up with throughout the 1980s. The movies were always on the TV back then. This guy is a professor of archaeology, he wears a hat and he's very good with a whip. Of course, it's Dr. Henry Jones Jr. Indiana Jones. I love this franchise. These movies are absolutely brilliant. The way we get to go on an adventure with Indiana is absolutely fantastic. And Indiana gets himself in a whole lot of different dangerous situations, but he always seems to get himself out of them as well, which is absolutely brilliant. And where else can you have a job as a professor teaching, and then in your spare time you get to go on all these different adventures around the world finding treasures and unsolving puzzles? Absolutely fantastic. So those are my two favourite movie characters of all time. Thank you so much again, Jordan, for inviting me on your channel to take part in this. It's been absolutely brilliant. Thank you, goodbye, take care.
Hey everybody, this is Keith here of Euphoria Pictures. Just before I get started with this, again, I just want to give a huge thanks to Jordan for including me in this and letting me help him with this collaboration video. So he asked one question, your favourite movie character. It could be a villain, could be a monster, anything. So the minute he messaged me about this, I knew that it was always going to be Ellen Ripley for me. I love strong women in movies, powerhouse women. My mind always goes to James Cameron's women in nearly all his films. When you have Jamie Lee Curtis in True Lies, Kate Winslet in Titanic, Linda Hamilton in T2, and then of course Ellen Ripley in Aliens. Now Ellen Ripley was a strong character in Alien, but I felt in Aliens, the things she done in that movie, she faced her fears so many times in that movie, whether it was going back to LV-426 or going back for Noosh at the end of it. It was so strong, it was so powerful to watch, and she always stuck with me. It always stuck with me, and the fact that she got nominated for an Oscar for Aliens says a whole lot. So yeah, that's my pick, Jordan, and I hope that's okay with you, my friend. So take it easy, my friend. Best of luck. Bye bye.
So the good stuff of Aliens, and where to start? I suppose the logical starting point is Oscar-nominated Sigourney Weaver as Ripley, one of my all-time favourite hero characters. And Ripley was already a full-on badass after the original Alien. I love how she faced off against Yaphet Kotto's character, rest in peace, and just didn't take any shit from him. And how she put her life at risk to go back for Jonesy the cat when there was a murderous alien roaming the corridors. But the Ripley in Aliens is a much deeper character, and she's really the heart of the story, particularly in the special edition of the film, which restores an absolutely vital scene where we learn that Ripley's daughter Amanda has grown old and died whilst her mother floated across the galaxy in cryosleep. And I'll never understand why they took this scene out of the theatrical cut. The film really builds on these themes of parental loss and motherhood, with Ripley's touching relationship with Newt, played by Carrie Henn, who incidentally only ever starred in this film. As their mother-daughter style bond grows, Cameron amazingly manages to mirror this with the aliens themselves through the emergence of the incredibly impressive Alien Queen. I love that scene where Ripley bumps into the Queen whilst rescuing Newt, and they have this kind of understanding. You don't hurt my babies, and I won't hurt yours. I love that "oh no you didn't" tilt of the head from Ripley as a nearby egg begins to hatch, prompting her to torch the room and obliterate the incoming protectors of the Queen. And of course it all culminates in one of the many memorable quotes from this film.
Get away from her, you bitch!
Hey there guys, so first up I just want to thank Jordan for including me in this video. Now as for my favourite movie character of all time, it's gotta be Ellen Ripley. For me, Ellen Ripley is iconic in movie history, mainly for what she's done for female action heroines, but also she's kicked a xenomorph butt countless times and saved the world along the way. I absolutely love her character. She is resilient, she is strong, and she is very powerful. What I mainly love, as I said, about the character is just the impact she's had on cinema, what she's done for female characters in particular, but as well as that, what she's done for sci-fi and horror. Alien is an iconic movie for sure, but none of that would have happened without Ellen Ripley. But guys, again, I just want to thank Jordan for including me in this video, and I cannot wait to see what other characters everyone else picks.
So I know I tried to tell everyone to just stick to one character, and Carl just couldn't help himself there with two, and that is understandable because John McClane and Indiana Jones are just both great heroes. But this next guy was just spoiled for choice. I mean, he just couldn't decide. So let's take a look at who my next guest picked.
Hello, the filmmaker here. It's a pleasure to be on your channel, Movie Worm, to take part in this quite large collaboration of YouTubers, and I do believe a few non-YouTubers are participating in this, so I'm very interested to see who will be saying what in this video. I'm interested to see how it turns out, and I really appreciate being a part of this. Jordan asked me my favourite character in a film, which is a very hard question. I started to think back to my childhood and who I loved most then, which would have been like Darth Vader, who still stands now as one of my favourite characters, but also something like Captain Hook from Peter Pan. But right now, definitely Darth Vader, like I mentioned, because of course it's going to be something from a franchise. I would also go with Batman. That would be the character itself though, not a particular actor. I don't think I've got a favourite actor who depicts Batman. Like, I don't want to go with Bale or Affleck or whoever. Well, I can definitely tell you that George Clooney and Val Kilmer, they don't cut the salami, I'm afraid, for being a good Batman. They're not very good at all, but laughably quite bad. But yeah, I just really love the character of Batman. I love how he's shown the different versions of him in the films, the different depictions from Bale to Michael Keaton, even Adam West. I have fun with Adam West's Batman as well, so definitely Batman. I think he's the best superhero. Also, Indiana Jones, you know, he's just such a good character and so entertaining to watch. Even maybe his dad, just because of Sean Connery depicting him. Oh, and talking of Sean Connery, we've got Bond, James Bond, of course. How could I not mention Bond again? I'd have to go with actually a specific actor here, which would be Sean Connery. I believe he's the best Bond. Of course, it's all subjective. I know Bond's such a big thing and everyone has their certain Bond, but I believe Connery is Bond. No one else can top him. I guess that is because I know Jordan doesn't want this video to be too long. Hopefully it isn't too long. I know it's going to be big with different, lots of different people participating in this. So thank you all so much. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Lucas. I know it's really hard to just name one. It's kind of an impossible task, actually, to just nail down one character. But let's move on now to some of the more interesting movie characters, the anti-hero, because you know they're doing bad things, but you get on their side anyway. Let's take a look at some of those.
Hi guys, from Alan Scouser, and a big hi to Jordan at Movie Worm, for very kindly inviting me to contribute to this video. Now, Jordan's question for this video was, who is your all-time greatest movie character and why? Now, being an ardent movie buff, I've got so many, favourite characters, especially in the horror genre. But for this video, I'd like to nominate a character from the non-horror genre that stands head and shoulders above all the rest, and that character is... Yes, the man with no name, as portrayed by Clint Eastwood in Sergio Leone's spaghetti western, dollar trilogy. Now, why do I like this character so much? Well, for one thing, he's got a lot of depth to him. He's a kind of an anti-hero. He's very exciting to watch on screen. And Eastwood plays him, like, really consummately and that, yeah. And he's not like the traditional cowboys of old and that, yeah, where there was a white hat and a black hat. He's got, as I say, he's got very good depth to his character. You don't know what he's going to do on screen and that. He's very unpredictable, very entertaining to watch and that, yeah. And he's quick on the draw and that, he really stands out. He's got an awesome screen presence, and it's fantastic in the dollar trilogy, the spaghetti westerns. And I love the mysterious aspect about him as well, the way he rides into town and that, everybody looks at him and that, yeah, and he gives all the villains a steely squint and that, yeah, and very, very quick on the draw, yeah, shoots the villains with unerring accuracy, yeah, and oh yeah, he's just a fantastic character, guys. And so there you go, guys, that's my all-time favourite movie character. The man with no name, as played brilliantly by Clint Eastwood.
Hello everybody, my name is Leon and I'm here on behalf of Jordan to talk about one of my favourite characters in films of all time. So Jordan basically told me I have a minute or two to talk about one of my favourite characters ever, and I decided the lead protagonist from my favourite film of all time, Buffalo 66, and that is this guy here, Billy Brown. So why did I choose Billy Brown? Why do I think he is one of the best movie characters of all time? Because he's incredibly layered. Each time you watch this film, without giving away any spoilers, you understand more about the character. You can pick apart little character traits which in some performances are just non-existent. Sometimes you'll watch a film, you think that was a good performance, but you'll never really understand the character himself. It's very hard for me at least to find a performance which kind of improves on each rewatch in terms of like versatility, little minute character details, and just kind of transforming the experience. The first time you watch this film, this character is a despicable human being. You hate his guts. You're like, why is he like this? And you're like, he's just unlikable. On the second time, you understand why he acts this way. You understand why he acts out in frustration, mainly due to his parents treating him in a less than positive light, and also being let down by society, similar to something like the Joker almost. I think Billy Brown is a fantastic character, and if you have not seen Buffalo 66 already, it's one of those films that the more you watch it, you'll pick back layers of the characters, and yeah. I hope that was a good little introduction, little tease almost, as to why I like Billy Brown so much. But yeah, take it away, Jordan.
Hi everyone, my name's Danny, the girl and a movie, and I wanted to say thank you to Jordan for asking me to be part of this video. Jordan's question was to explain who your favourite film character is. Now, my favourite film character is quite difficult for me to pick because I have so many different film characters that I love. I've got a favourite horror character, I've got a favourite Disney character, but in general, the most nostalgic film character for me would be definitely Michael Keaton's Beetlejuice. I think it's absolutely incredible. It's hilarious, it's a bit dark and creepy, and I just think it's an amazing movie, and especially when they go to the death side. It's just a great film, and I think Michael Keaton played Beetlejuice exceptionally well. So yeah, that's my favourite film character.
Now, I suppose the next thing to a anti-hero is the villain protagonist. Now, before we get onto the villains, I just wanted to mention this type of character in particular. For example, Tony Montana, one of the best ever acting performances from Al Pacino, and he portrayed this character in such a good light. But my next pick for my next guest was one of the best picks of the bunch and one of my favourites. So let's take a look at the next villain protagonist.
What's going on, Future Boy here, and first I just want to say thank you, Jordan, aka Movie Worm, for allowing me and everyone else to participate in your video. You posed the question, who is our favorite character in a film, be it a hero, be it a villain, be it a sidekick, and quite frankly, that's a tall order. I mean, there's so many characters, but quite frankly, the one that came to my mind, rough top of my head, was Malcolm McDowell's Alex the Large and Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange. I mean, this performance was electric. I mean, everything about it, you know, the character work he did, the layers that he brought, the emotion, just the fun it seemed he had on the screen just leapt right off. And it's something that has stuck with me for like years and years since I've seen this movie. It's by far one of my favorite Stanley Kubrick movies, if not my favorite Stanley Kubrick movie. If you've never seen this movie, please go check it out. It is absolutely amazing. The performance is just top notch. And yeah, that's it. Like, it's phenomenal. You should check it out. Back to you, Jordan. Thank you once again.
Now we will get onto the villains in just a second, but not all characters in movies come in human form, as these next two examples show us just that.
Hello, my name is John from Mondocellovic Movies, and today Jordan has asked me what is my favourite hero or favourite villain, and today I've went for villain. Now, yes, you've got Freddy Krueger, you've got Jason Voorhees, and you've got Michael Myers. They are all great villains in their own right, and I was very close to picking them as well. But for me, I went for a different type of villain. This villain, in my estimation, has scared more people than anybody else in cinema history. In fact, he has stopped you doing a certain activity in the summer. I know it stopped me doing that activity for probably the rest of my life. I will never go in the sea again probably after that. And even when I do go in the sea, I always think, is there a shark waiting for me? Yes, you've guessed it. My favourite villain of all time is Bruce, the great white shark from the 1975 film Jaws. So this shark does kind of have a character arc. He is just peacefully eating everybody in the sea, just mind his own business. That's what he does. He'll fill up and move on. Then the townsfolk, they go chasing him, so he doesn't like that. So he starts going back for them. So if you think about it, this film is better because of the shark is actually after them. They are chasing him. He's not just running away from it. He's as if he's thinking, right, you're after me, I'm going to get you first. And he's an eating machine that all it wants to do is kill everything in its path. So to me, that's the ultimate villain, and I have never understood why this film was released as a PG. It's the most terrifying PG film that anyone's ever seen. If you see this film at an age when you're a bit too young like I was, it can petrify you. And to me, that is the ultimate in what a villain should be. So, back to you, Jordan.
Hello everybody, my name is Jason Brett. I've been invited on Movie Worm to talk about my favourite movie character. If you know me and my channel, my choice for favourite movie character is Godzilla. Also known in Japan as Gojira. But yeah, Godzilla. I get so much joy from Godzilla that it's very hard to put into words. The great thing about the franchise is that you've got 35 films with very different and very strikingly great interpretations of the character. Godzilla was originally a metaphor for the use of atomic power and what horrors it can bring. He's very multifaceted as a character, because in the franchise he goes from being a protector of humanity in one moment, but also you can have a film with him where he's humanity's punishment. He's great like that. He's a wonderful character. You want the heroic Godzilla? You've got the Showa era. You've got films like Godzilla vs. Megalon. Very kid-friendly, very goofy, very, yay, go Godzilla, very heroic. You want something bleak and depressing and maybe make you feel like you don't want to be here anymore? Watch the original Godzilla 1954. If you want something that kind of straddles the line between really dark and grounded, but also he still is that heroic character, check out the Heisei series. There is, honestly, so much that could cater to a lot of people, and that's what I love about this franchise and this character. He's a character that really can capture the imagination of all ages, children, young adults, adults. He's had a 65-year career and spanned multiple generations, and that is why I love his character so much. Hero or villain, it doesn't matter. Godzilla is still the king of the monsters. Jordan, thank you so much for letting me be a part of this video. Any excuse to talk about Godzilla, I'm there. So yeah, thanks a lot, my friend. See you on the next one.
And we're going to get into the villains now, and I saved this to last because it probably is my favourite type of movie character. Some of them are just so iconic, like Freddy Krueger, Chucky, Michael Myers, of course. And we're going to start off on one now that is a creature but takes human form, the Shapeshifter. So let's take a look at some of the most famous villains in movie history.
Hello everybody on YouTube land, my name's Jamie Powell and Movie Worm got in touch with me asking me about who or what is my favourite movie character. It's very hard to pick because there's so many characters and so many movies. But if I was to pick one character, then it would have to be Pennywise the Clown from the original 1990 Stephen King's It miniseries. And basically Tim Curry took the role as Pennywise the Clown. And when I first saw this, it was back in 1990 when it was first shown on television, and I was watching it at midnight. I snuck down in the middle of the night to go and watch it. And at first I thought this clown's cool. I was only 7, okay? I was 7 years old. I snuck down to watch it because Mum and Dad would not let me watch it. And he came on screen and he was like, "Hi." And it was really quite funny. I thought, oh, I quite like him. And then he turned. His face completely changed and he became scary. It terrified me, and the scene with Georgie and the boat in the drain is absolutely terrifying as well. And from that point on, I realised that this is a character that is not to be messed with and can be... It's a shapeshifter. He's a shapeshifter. He can be a werewolf, a very bad animatronic spider. You know, he could be anything. And but as the clown, Pennywise the Clown, he was so kind of scary and funny at the same time. You laughed at him, but you were also not comfortable with him. It's the best way of putting it. And he makes a great villain. That's my favourite character from any movie. So there you go. Thank you very much, and please subscribe to Movie Worm. He is absolutely fantastic, and thank you for inviting me to be a part of your video. Anyway guys, that's it for me. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you again soon. On to the next clip.
So hello everyone on Jordan's channel. Thank you very much for having me back on, Jordan. You guys may recognise me from the Batman video, where you may know me as the person who didn't shut up about the Dark Knight, and yeah, you're probably right, I am the person that didn't shut up about the Dark Knight. But today Jordan has asked me to join this collaboration to be a part of the video and talk about our favourite cinematic character. Now, I think from that Batman video, I think you know who I'm going to talk about. I am, of course, talking about, to me, the best comic book character of all time, the Joker. He's my favourite cinematic character. I know a lot of people would probably put Darth Vader up there or someone from that hierarchy, but I'm going with the Joker purely because whenever the Joker is on screen or heard, he is the main focus, the main centre point. He has such a dominating presence on screen, and we really saw that with not only Jack Nicholson and Joaquin Phoenix's performance, but we also 100% saw that from Heath Ledger's performance in The Dark Knight, and not to forget Mark Hamill's voice work in the animated series and the games, and also Cesar Romero and Jared Leto. But yeah, that is my pick. My pick is the Joker. Thank you so much for having me on the channel again, Jordan. I really do appreciate it, my friend. Keep up the amazing work. You're doing really, really well. And yeah, let's get another collaboration going soon.
Hello, this is Rob from Rob Affects Bounty, and my favourite villain, or on-screen villain of all time, is from one of the very, very first comic book adaptation movies. On the original Ninja Turtle movie and The Secret of the Ooze, the sequel, we have Uruku Saki, aka The Shredder.
What are these freaks? How do they know how to fight like this? You will answer.
As a child, I had goosebumps when this guy come on the screen. Big, massive metal armour, big, huge kind of claws. Absolutely terrifying. The first time you see him in the movie, you see like a silhouette and he throws a knife through the TV, and then you see the shadow of him coming from the distance. The camera pans round to his helmet as he's addressing the mighty Foot Clan. Absolutely amazing villain. I won't ruin the ending of the first film, but in the sequel he's got a slightly different helmet which looks even cooler. How could you not say that costume is amazing? They didn't always get Shredder right on the big screen. The Michael Bay versions of Ninja Turtles, it was almost like a massive transformer, aka Megatron.
I am Megatron!
I'm such a massive fan of this character, I even cosplayed this character at Comic Con with my wife. And here we are, London Comic Con. Just want to thank Movie Worm for letting us take part in this amazing video, and I'll always be a shred head for life. Take care, everybody.
Your hairy little friend knows me as Oroku Saki. But you may call me the Shredder.
Hello Jordan, hello Movie Worm. First off, I want to say a huge thank you for having me over on your channel. It always means a lot to collaborate with you, just to do anything with you, because you are honestly one of the best people here on YouTube. So thank you so much for having me. So favourite movie character for me, I'm not going to surprise anyone here. People who know me know that I love Star Wars, and for me, a character which I absolutely love is Anakin/Vader. I think he's my favourite character to come out of a film, because while in the 6 movies we have with him, he's fantastic, but he's been expanded upon so well now in TV shows and comics and novels, and even in the spin-off movie, you know, Rogue One, we got to see a little bit of Vader, and he was awesome in that. Anakin is a very broken character, you see, and while not everyone loves the prequels, I personally do, you get to see this character get broken down. And then when you watch things like the Clone Wars and read some of the novels, which dive into his story even more, you can see why this character is slowly breaking and why, and it makes you feel terrible for him, because no one around him really seems to help him. In fact, they seem to make it worse. And then by the time Vader comes along, he's incredible. And in those original films, those original Star Wars films, for a character that's wearing a mask throughout 3 movies, you get so much emotion, so much character out of him. It's incredible what they were able to do with him. And he's the most menacing villain, I think, a lot of us can say we've ever watched on the screen. Give me a more menacing villain to come out of a movie. I dare you, because you won't come up with one. Vader is the iconic villain. He's incredible. And his story does expand into Anakin, and I love that progression of seeing his character broken down and turn into this awesome villain. Anyway, thank you so much, Movie Worm, for having me. I hope you enjoyed my pick.
Okay guys, that is all of my guests with their input. I just thought they came up with some great characters there. I loved watching every single segment, and I just want to thank them all, every single one of them, for taking part in this collaboration video. I've wanted to do this for a long time, like I said, and it's just been a blast putting this all together. And every single one of these people will be down below. They all have channels, so I advise you all to go and check them out and subscribe to them and give them some support. It's been great being part of this YouTube community lately. Everyone's come together, and I've also left the Movie Bug Facebook page down below, the BlueTuber community page, and the Big Paulie Chat and Movies page. They will all be down below. If you want to come and talk about movies with us, share your videos and stuff, get a part of them, because they're great fun. And don't go anywhere, because after the credits we do have a post-credit scene as a little bonus. Thank you so much everyone, take it all easy, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Are you a BlueTube content creator? Do you like discussing movies whilst doing it on YouTube? Do you want to get into a community where everybody does the same thing? Well, look no further, for I, Geordie Paul, have created the BlueTube community, a new page on Facebook
So don't forget to join, and I'll see you there.